So we're down here in the pit looking at some of the components of our 7-post rig. Our 7-post consists of 4 wheel pan actuators, one located underneath each tire, and 3 air loaders, which are attached to the chassis. So the air loader ultimately is a big hydraulic ram, which is down here. These can generate about 5,000 pounds of force. They're really precisely controlled by these valves right here. They're called servo hydraulic valves, which are extremely, extremely fast, and these are EFB valves, which means they have electronic feedback in them. So it means we're constantly controlling them, and they've got a control loop in there that measures how far they're moving and how open they are. When we move up, this actuator is attached to the chassis of the car. So we're bolted rigidly to the frame rail. We've got our Xfinity car hooked up right now. It's got a rigid rod. Attached to the rod is a load cell, which measures how much force is being applied. And then we've got one of the servo test exclusive pieces called a compliant link. So we hook the actuator directly to the chassis. The compliant link is in here to act as a cushion because we control this actuator really, really, really fast. You know, it can move 100 inches a second, but ultimately the body of the car doesn't move that quickly. So this acts as a cushion, and we use predictive force to figure out how fast we need to move the actuator to get the reaction that we want at the car. Another piece of the servo test system is this sensor right here, which is called a velocity sensor. So this sensor is measuring how quickly the chassis is moving up and down, and it uses that to determine the inertia of the car to figure out how much force that we need to add or subtract from the air loader in what's called velocity feed forward. So we're actually predicting the movement of the car ahead of time so that we can more accurately control the force we're applying on the air loader and minimize what's called residuals, which is a residual load. That's the error in the load that's seen at the load cell between what it ideally thinks it should have and what's actually being applied. So the servo test system lets us have the lowest residuals in the industry. The next component is our wheel pan, which is mostly all the same pieces. You can see it's also got servo hydraulic valves on it. The actuator's a little bit bigger and heavier. And up at the top, it's also got a load cell. And this load cell is where we measure for the contact patch load variation. So we measure the instantaneous load seen at the tire.